Are you interested in building your sales process but just don't know how or where to start? Maybe you already have a sales process and you just need a bit of a refresher. Well, there are thousands of sales process guides, tips and tricks, but the best place to start is going to come from a good foundation. And in this video, we're going to review the steps of a sales process that you need to build out to grow your business. Hey everyone, I'm Ian Campbell and I am CEO of Mission Suite. Before we jump into today's video, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you're notified anytime that we post new videos. If you've been watching my past videos, you probably know that at this point, I've been working with clients on their CRM needs for the past 10 years. But for about 10 years before I started Mission Suite, I was working with small business owners to help them build out sales and marketing strategies as well. These days, I have some amazing partners that I work with to help my clients build out sales and marketing strategies, and I tend to refer that business to them. But this is still one of my favorite discussions to have with new business owners. There are 4 main steps that you need to consider in building out your sales process, so let's dive in. As always, let's start with the first thing first, initial contact. This first step is all about relationship building. Reaching out to your leads with an introduction to explain why you're connecting with them is important. If you're struggling with lead generation, we actually have a couple other videos that you can check out. We have how to use marketing automation for lead generation, and we have a community table session on how to generate more sales with fewer leads, both of which you can see in the description below. But back to the lead itself, make sure you've done your homework and you know just how this lead was acquired. Believe me when I tell you that it's really awkward when someone asks you how you got their name and you don't have an answer. Planning and researching prior to the initial contact and connection are important, so be ready to discuss the reason that you're reaching out. Of course, that interaction from this outreach is going to look different from lead to lead, really different in some cases. And it's going to depend a lot on whether you're in person or over the phone or at a networking event or what have you, but the outcome should always be the same. You only get one chance at a first impression, and first impressions are really one of the most important parts of a successful sales process. If you make somebody mad right off the bat, you're probably not going to close the deal. A warm introduction and a clear explanation are key to making a good impression here. Don't lead with your pitch. Focus on the prospect instead. Look for opportunities to connect on a human level, on a person-to-person level. Find a common interest or a mutual acquaintance. Tools like LinkedIn make it really easy to find those connection points with your prospect, so use them. Next, you're going to start qualifying that lead and, more importantly, their need for your product or service. To get into this, first, you're obviously going to need to know who your ideal client is, and you're going to need to have some sense of what their needs are. You can't qualify anyone if you don't know what you're looking for. This is where you're going to be asking some questions and listening to the answers. And I mean listening. This means keeping your mouth shut and doing your absolute best to get to know exactly what the issues are that they need to solve and how they want to solve them. This is not a time for you to be persuading. It's not a time to start introducing your product or your service. This is a time for you to listen and get to know as much about the prospect and about their business as possible. This could end up being an ongoing process, and it's not a step that you want to rush through. But ask questions like, what's your role within the company? Getting to know the person. What problem are you trying to solve? What are your business priorities? Who are your biggest competitors? What does success look like for you? What other solutions are you considering? There's tons of questions that you can ask, but make sure that you understand their needs. Ask follow-up and clarifying questions as necessary, and listen for context clues so that you can ultimately position your offer to the needs that they have. If you're on the same page and they do qualify, then you get to move forward. If not, keep asking questions until you understand or can disqualify the leads that don't meet the criteria that you're looking for. Remember, this is a two-way street, so you can always walk away from someone if they don't meet your qualifications as well. The next step here is to provide your solution. This is when you get to start opening your mouth again. This is when you get to show your prospect exactly how well you heard their needs and how you can actually help address those needs that they mentioned. By this time, you know whether or not you can help the prospect. You know whether you're going to be wasting their time or wasting your time putting together a solution proposal or a presentation. So, because you don't want to do that for someone who's not qualified to work with you. But now that you're ready to move forward, it's time to share your vision. Share that vision of what it looks like for you to work with a client and what it would look like if this prospect became a client. As the saying goes, sell the sizzle, not the steak. Explain how what you're offering satisfies their needs and solves their problem according to their version of success. I can't stress that enough. This has to align with their version of success. So when you're presenting your solution, refer back to the needs that they identified during all of your previous conversations. Refer back to their needs. Depending on your presentation style and what you're selling, you may need to include some presentation aids. Maybe you're going to give a demo of a software solution. Maybe you're going to bring a sample of a product, right? An example of a phone set if you're selling phone systems that they can actually hold and get a feel for what you're providing. If there's someone that would help kind of grease the skids a little bit, maybe an engineer, an executive for technical information and technical purposes, maybe bring them into the conversation. They may be able to help you paint a more compelling picture of what the future could look like by working with you. Make sure that your presentation is tailored to the customer and that everything that you've learned about them up to this point is included in there. And remember, don't oversell it. Be honest and be genuine while presenting. The last thing that you want to do is end up overpromising and under-delivering. So before we get to the fun part, I want to know, what part of the sales process is the hardest for you? Drop down in the comments and let us know. And while you're down there, give us a like and let us know that you're getting something out of this video. All right, so here's that fun part that I mentioned, closing the deal. Now that you've presented, it's time to close. It's not uncommon to get objections at the time for decision making comes around. Hopefully you've been able to address most of the objections through the course of the rest of the sales process, but oftentimes there are concerns that may not have been vocalized that still need to be addressed. Sure, this can be challenging, but navigating these objections openly and honestly can really help you with that final level of trust that you need to move forward. Now, there are plenty of closing tactics out there that people might advise you to try, but more often than not, they're really not worth it. Don't position yourself as a closer. Don't be the pressure cooker. Don't try to pressure your prospect to sign on the line. You may get the deal, but the chances of this client walking away unhappy end up going through the roof. If you've worked this process right up to now, then closing is simply the next natural step in that process. You've taken the time to learn what the client wants. You've shown them how it will look to work together. You can repaint the vision of your future together if necessary, but at this point, the question of when would you like to move forward should feel pretty natural in the conversation. Your sales process can be hugely important in growing your business. If you build it right and then work the process, you'll end up closing more deals and do so more quickly and end up really growing your business. If you want to take a look at how Mission Suite can help you manage that sales process, I encourage you to take a look at a demo of our system so that you can see it firsthand. So check out the link to our website below and sign up for a demo today. I hope you got something out of this video. And if you did, again, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, maybe give it a share so that others can see it too. That always helps us with this YouTube algorithm. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell so that you're notified every time that we post new videos. And while you're at it, check these videos out too, and we'll see you next time around. Cheers.